Hi, Stephen. A pleasure to meet you. So I believe you're going to be giving a nice talk with us for about 10 minutes or so. So I think that Joanne's going to be sharing a couple of slides while you're talking. So I guess shouldn't be too surprised. But I'll leave the floor to you to introduce yourself. And yeah, lots of luck, sir.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Good morning. I'm sitting in Canada, and our company has been in the used clothing business for 25 years. So my perspective on the conversation in front of us is um, about this collection of post-consumer, and as Miguel calls it, waste. But that's the first thing I want to talk to you about. So in America, or typically in Europe as well, after somebody has worn their clothes, the typical life expectancy of a garment in a closet in the West is 2.5 years. So somebody buys something, they wear it for 2.5 years. Typically what happens is they put it in a bin bag and they donate it to a local charity. Those charities will then go through the product and pick out what they can sell in the charity shops. And that typically is about 25% of what is donated. So somebody goes out and buys a new pair of jeans, they wear it for 2.5 years, they then donate it to a local charity. And really the charity shops in North America typically sell about 25% of what they get donated. What happens to the other 75%? So guys like our company, Bank and Vogue, we buy those containers of goods and we send them around the world. We have a facility in Karachi. We also have a facility in Kandla, about 350 but just kilometers south of Karachi in Kandla in Gujarat. But in these zones, we sort the product into reuse, um, and be and what. Let me back up. The first thing we want to do is we want to capture the best economic value of the clothes that we get, the secondhand clothes. So I'm going to challenge. Miguel said it's post-consumer waste. I think all of us need to change our headspace that used clothes is not waste. Used clothes is an opportunity that just needs to be unlocked. So I'm going to erase the word waste out of everybody's head. If you think of nothing else when you leave my presentation, used clothes is not waste. It's an incredible, valuable opportunity for number one, reuse. So our company, as an example, we have vintage shops in London and in Stockholm. We have 15 stores. We resell everything from denim to leather, but on-trend clothing. So this jacket, which is a 1950s Hercules jacket, is a really good example of reuse. Denim wears like a pig's nose. It wears very well. So we'd set up shops 20 years ago in London. We've had 20 Vogue covers. There's Kate Middleton on the 100th anniversary of Vogue. The first thing we need to do with our used clothes is reuse it, rewear it. But the reality is that there are, one of the surprising things is what is the input to recycling? I think one thing that people would be really surprised about is that a lot of the denim, so denim, about 7% of used clothes is denim. Of that, what actually then, if we can't reuse it, what can we do with the denim? And I would like to first inspire that there's another step that maybe Miguel left out of it, is if we can't reuse an item, can we cut it up as a component for an input to a new item? So we work with these guys, Converse, to actually make the upper for the Chuck Taylor shoe out of post-consumer, that's secondhand jeans. Why is this important? If you grow 1 kilogram of organic cotton, it takes 13 kilograms of carbon to make 1 kilogram of organic cotton. If you can reuse a fabric, that is, cut it up in its existing state, don't rip it apart into fibers. If you can cut it up and turn it into a component, and if you can do this at scale, this takes only 3 kilograms of carbon. And as we're all faced with the decarbonization crisis around the world, this idea of reusing a material as an input to new manufacturing at scale is really possible. And our work with Converse and Nike demonstrates that this is possible. But I also think that it's really important, focusing in on denim. Americans buy 450 million pairs of jeans a year, plus or minus, depending on the year. A lot of what gets actually sent into recycling is actually perfectly good jeans, but maybe, number one, the style is out of place. You know, the world secondhand market for skinny jeans is really limited. Number two, being a Canadian, we like to make fun of Americans. So one of the big problems about jeans that come, secondhand jeans that come from the United States, is there's 36, 38, 40, 42-inch waist size jeans. Really big. There's a lot of fat people in America. So as fashion, we can say that. So the reuse market for those jeans is somewhat limited. And a lot of the jeans that actually we, as a business, prepare and get ready for recycling, is they actually are in really good condition. The fibers are really good, but the problem is either the style or size, there's a limited secondhand market. So I think the third thing that I would like to inspire, this audience is, and no one likes a zealot, but I absolutely believe that the third industrial revolution will be us figuring out how we use our existing resources at scale as an input to new manufacturing. Obviously, that's what this whole chat is about. But our facility in Kandla and our facility in Karachi, we pre-process denim and we sort it and grade it so that it can be an input to those two silos that Miguel pointed out beforehand. We can sort product for chemical recycling, and we can sort product for mechanical recycling. I think that the real opportunity in front of us on the chemical side, it should be said that most of the chemical technologies, so we are one of the largest suppliers to Renewcell, a Swedish company that has figured out a way to replace wood pulp with used or cellulose-rich product, cotton-rich product. So we supply denim to Renewcell to be able to make viscose fiber. And what's really exciting about this chemical transformation, as was said earlier, is that we can reprocess the material and turn it into an input that replaces wood pulp. Basically, we don't have to cut trees down to be able to make a new fiber. And the real opportunity, and if I was 25 years younger and said, what do I want to do with my life in terms of contributing to a positive fashion forward, I would say is, how can I collect the things that are and make new things from them? How can I actually not damage or rely on virgin material to be able to create a new material? And that's both difficult, hard, but it's just work. That's all it is. So there you go. I'm sorry. I hope that was sort of a quick cover over of what we do, why we do it, and kind of why we love this. But I kind of open up for questions. That's probably more exciting.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That was pretty awesome. It's going to change my view, so we're on gallery. Wowzers, you're an unbelievable person, by the way. It's pretty awesome that you've got operations all over the place. I imagine sorting through the garments is a much bigger operation. Especially, I know myself handing in garments to recycling. It's like bed sheets mixed in with other stuff. You must get bin bags and bing bags full of things that are. The sorting must be a really difficult task, and obviously done by hand, right? So it's a big process.
Yeah, and so we sort and grade 3 million garments a week.
Wow.
But I tell you that, as this is an audience in Pakistan, Pakistan actually has an incredible advantage over some of their Asian neighbors, let's say China or Vietnam. There are huge sorting facilities in Karachi that bring in secondhand garments. The reason why this is a really important conversation about why goods all need to come to one place. opportunities for grades and opportunities for sorting into categories need to happen when there's scale. And I'll give you a really obscure example. If you wanted to set up a cashmere sweater grade, you wanted to recycle cashmere sweaters represent about 6% of all used clothing. Of that, 0.1% of the sweaters represent cashmere. So if you had to go around all over Europe and all over America collecting bits of cashmere to be able to make a sea container, it would take you a long time. But one of the incredible opportunities in front of us is that both in Pakistan and India, we have massive sorting centers. Those sorting centers create opportunities. So in the denim front, there are some denim grades that they want 100% cotton. They want only black. They want 98% cotton. But we can scale and grade and sort to a specification if there is scale. And that's a real exciting thing that happens in Pakistan. And yes, I know a lot of people will try to solve all problems with technology, but the reality is this is best done by hand at this point in time.
Yeah, no, I've had the pleasure of going to a few, and they are amazing. For a designer like myself, it's amazing. I found things from the 1800s in these places that are about to be shredded. So it's quite alarming where I'm thinking you need to hire proper designers to pick for you because there's stuff that goes through the net that gets like destroyed. I've got questions, got a couple of questions that come in. One question like regarding your like design tool. I think there was something that you were going to touch on. And a follow-up question was, where do you see the market in like recycled in the next 10 years? So two questions first of all for you.
So we generated this what we refer to as the design toolkit. So if anybody buys Lego and you open up your Lego package, you get this sort of open description of how to build the little guy or little thing that you're going to have it. We've done the exact same with denim to be able to deconstruct, and we believe that designers intuitively want to design with used. But what are the barriers? How can we actually communicate the shades of blue? What is where? What does cat whiskering look like? So we've designed this toolkit to be able to explain to designers what is available. Like your point is really well made. I think that if designers could stand in the pile of used denim that we see every month, the 4 million pounds, 4 million garments a month, they would be like, oh, imagine what we can do with this. Our toolkit is basically a series of unlocks so that they can understand without leaving their desk what actually is available and what are the options. If you can kind of look at that, the next slide, when we were working with Converse, we had to explain the differences of the different shades of blue. We need to be able to describe the different size of panels. So this is the purpose of the toolkit. Where is this going? Is the question. I don't know if I know where it's going, but I'll tell you where I hope it's going. Where I hope it's going is that we all need to change our diet. We need to change what we are consuming. We need to reuse more. We need to buy more secondhand. In Europe, we're celebrating secondhand September, where people are making pledges only to buy secondhand. Secondly, we need to change the way in which stuff is made, not just have 15, 20, 30%, but how do we get to 100% of what is made is not using virgin material? Where we have to get to, and where I hope we get to, is a low carbon footprint on manufacturing. And denim is a really crucial element to that. And history has shown us, I'm sorry to be a little bit of there's very little that happens in Canada, but there was a thing called the Montreal Accord, which was signed about 30 years ago, which actually limited ozone use, Freon use that was affecting the ozone. The world came together and signed a document that said, hey, we got to stop using Freon because it's hurting our ozone. We all signed it, 50 years ago. And the reality is the ozone is actually repairing itself. My hope is that we can all come together and recognize that we all have a responsibility, a collective responsibility to change. And it's not waste. What used is not waste. Used is the biggest opportunity in front of us.
There you go. Okay, a question from like Sana. It's obviously like we're going to be seeing a lot of like mechanical like, sort of recycling in the next panel, but it's a question about the garments that can't be like recycled, and that can't be like mechanically recycled. Might be a question for like Miguel, but what happens to those garments? That are there must be garments that you can't that can't go through the chain that still get burnt, that still get destroyed, right? There's a small. What's the percentage of those type of garments?
I think the biggest, so let's just stick to denim so we can narrow the conversation. I think one of the biggest things, what are the things that keep us up at night? Elastane. You know, when you get that the rubber in mixed within this, that becomes, I refer to it, I'm sorry to the people who make elastane, but I refer to it as the leaded gasoline of
Yeah.
denim. You know, literally they're putting an element in that makes this impossible. And what happens to it? So there is a reuse market, which is the wiper trade, denim at scale is used in heavy industrial environments. So things like oil wells, where you need a really heavy element. Also, denim is also used ground up to make insulation. But those are all tearful moments for somebody like me who wants to elevate the value of an item, not lower the element of the item. So there is there is a little bit of sobriety here in this conversation, is that many of the technologies, both mechanical and chemical, really are limited by the characteristics of the input. If we sort a million pairs of jeans, we do 4 million pairs of jeans a month, but only 9% of those jeans are 100% cotton. If you remove the trims, the zippers, the cladding, it comes down to about 5.5% is 100% cotton. You know, if I could be somewhat prescriptive and encourage, if you pick up your pen and you're going to design something, please design it with 100% cotton. It just makes our world a lot easier.
Obviously, we have other materials like hemp and tensile lyocell and other fibers that can be recycled, right? That we're not talking about the polyesters of the world here. We're talking about other fibers that are rigid in respect. So there's no problems with these, correct? With any of the, of course, there wouldn't be, from my understanding.
Yeah, you know, part of the problem is, or part of our challenge is that we have a couple of things going on at the same time that are going to collide at a different time. I'll answer it this way, to say that often the technologies that are out there in practice aren't as advanced as the brochures put them up to be. I'll say that as politely as I can. How's that?
No, it makes total sense. I do a lot of hemp development right now, and we're using machinery that it's used for linen. So they haven't made the machinery yet for hemp. So it's where you can use, we can only use what we've got. And obviously we have fantastic companies, you know, that are developing all these like recycling like sort of machines, which a lot of our friends use. It's always, you know, so it's all really cool. Stephen, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure meeting you and hearing your story. And I'm you know, and visiting like Karachi to one of your facilities would be awesome. So I think there's an open,
yeah, and
right?
I put it out that I'll be in Pakistan in 10 days. If anybody in the audience has any questions, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm exuberant about helping, and anybody who wants to join our mission of making used and input to new manufacturing, hey, reach out, man. I'm a big fan.
It's very kind, and the Transformers Foundation is extremely lucky to have you on our panel, even for a short while. But thank you so much for your time.